off with a basic pattern for your bottle waistcoat. And as I said, you can make it as a theme. You can put dogs on it, you can put sheep, cows, belties, flowers, make it wild and wacky, bright colours, whatever. I'm using blanket, dyed blanket, but you can use tweed, as long as you use something that doesn't fray. One pattern. Oh, missed a bit. Very basic pattern, that's all you need. And then we just cut out one of this. I'll use my proper scissors. Now, obviously, probably easier with it if I pin this, but just gonna. There we go. Oops. Yeah, so it'd be easier to pin it if I had 2 pins, but I don't. Plenty of needles and everything. Chuck that out of the way. There we go. And then I'll cut a black to go with it. But I've one I did earlier. Can I just reach across and get black on here? One I did earlier. In case you will lose the will to live watching. And these then will be pinned together at the top. Oh, I didn't cut that very well, did I? Do a bit more shape. There we are. Right, you take your needle, and I'm going to put some white on first of all. I think I'm going to do a winter scene. Now you just do one side or both sides. On this one, I've done both sides. I can do it just for Christmas or for the Christmas bottle or the all year round use. And I'm just cutting this as I go. Now with this Shetland, I'm just cutting it because I want to keep my curls in there. It was going to be a winter scene, but I changed my mind. I just looked at those curls and I thought, oh, I've got to use those. Now for the sheep, I'm using some carded. So I'm just going to pop that on here, a little bit less. I've just folded it over. Now, if you ever forget how to do a sheep, just go onto YouTube, the Solway Woolscapes, and it's there, how to do a sheep. So that's as far as I've got at the moment. Yep. Now for the black, you want some black fleece, but what I tend to be using, I think I've got some down here. I've got some pre-felt here, and I find that's quite useful because it's very, very black, and I can just take a little tiny bit, and I'm going to put the head in here. So into a triangle and whiz down the ears. I know you've been through this many times before, all of you, but so you've got your one with the ears, okay. So I'm going to do a little bit tidy up. Just bring it down. Now, just a little word, by the way. I know some of you have problems with this.
Yeah.
I know, okay, yeah. But if you have the head too big, don't worry about it, it's a proportion. What you do is you just bring, very gently, because you don't break the needle, just bring your white over a little bit and manipulate round and you get the size you want. For instance, if I were to take a bit of black, let me take a large bit of black. Where's that? Some of that rubbish I just threw out just now. Probably underneath here somewhere. No, I'll have to do it on here. So I don't had little bits left over. If you were to do that, it would be quite large. But if I was to keep on going and push it in as I go and tease it as I go, it can make it smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. So it's much easier to do it that way. Right, so we're just going to bring this down here. So the nice thing about needle felting is so forgiving. I'm going to take some black again. I'll just use some black fleece this time. A bit black fleece. I'm just going to go around the edges. Cut it as I go. And put the legs in. Just go around the top and round. Just outlining it. I know many of you have done outlining before, but I'll go over it again later on for those who want a bit more practice. And I just cut off all the fuzzy bits. It's better to cut than to pull. So you've got your sheep just along here. Now I'm not going to do the other side. I'll do that later on. What you then do, I'm going to take one I did earlier again. I've done it in different stages. So this is a grey one I've done. Oh, I haven't finished that one. Oh, that's a little. Let me just do a little tweak here. Didn't finish doing the heads. Okay, one I did earlier. All you do is you take your two pieces and you just stitch across the top, and a couple of stitches at the side that will hold it. Now, this one obviously is the finished one, but you can put buttons down front. However, you might find it easier just doing your little buttons and just felting them in. Actually, it's much quicker than sewing. And it's easier to gauge your spacing. So you see how much quicker it is doing that than sewing on 3 buttons. It doesn't work if you're doing your husband's shirts. I assure you, it doesn't work. And worse if you're doing his trousers.
You could pull the buttons up, couldn't you?
Yeah. It's so you can just glue buttons on as well, but quite honest, you can just stitch it, felt it in. It's much quicker. So that's that's your bottle waistcoat. Now I've just got to stitch up my sides here. Where's what I did on it? Now at the top here, I've just made a little V like that with white. Alternatively, you could get 2 squares and put it in and glue that in like that. Okay, if you want to do that. Again, I'm trying to give alternatives between felting and stitching, if you don't like stitching. And you just put a little bow tie on. Just tie a little bow, and there's your bow tie. And that's your napkin. So, can we have a bottle over, please? Yep. Thank you very much. Right, I've still got to stitch up the sides because unfortunately I was going to bring a wine bottle but I couldn't find one. And I So this is quite a fat bottle, too fat a bottle for it. A big bottle of Baileys and so. But anyway, you can see there, so that's with the Belty Galloways. I'll just turn it around so the camera can see it, the Belty Galloways, and there's your bottle waistcoat. And I'll just show it with the other one on. Let me just pop that on here. And there we are, one bottle waistcoat. That's it. Probably one of the simplest projects you'll ever do for Christmas. The nice thing, you can just sit and cut a whole load of them and sit and felt them in the evenings, put them together, and there you go. Go into supermarket, a few bottles of wine, Bob's your uncle.